The Clever Rabbit and the Lion. Written by Ali Bank. Once, there lived a lion in the forest. He often chased and ate other animals. All the animals were scared of the lion and ran away when they saw him. One day, the animals saw the lion again, so they quickly ran and hid. While running away, they saw a rabbit eating a carrot under a tree. The tortoise hurried to the rabbit. He yelled out, "Run, rabbit! Run! The lion is coming!" The rabbit calmly said to the tortoise, "I am tired of running away from the bad lion. Today I will teach him a lesson." The tortoise thought, "He is crazy!" and ran away. Soon the lion came near the rabbit's place. He roared and yelled, "Where are you all? I am so hungry now." Bravely, the rabbit jumped out in front of the lion and said, "Hey, Mr. Lion, if you are hungry, you can eat me. A big lion told me that rabbit meat is very tasty." The lion angrily roared, "A big lion? I am the only lion in this forest. Show me that lion, or I will eat you right now." The rabbit said, "Follow me." The rabbit led the bad lion to a river. Then he said, "That big lion lives under the water." The bad lion looked into the water and roared when he saw the big lion. The big lion roared too. The bad lion got very angry. The bad lion jumped into the water to fight the big lion. The bad lion did not know that the lion in the river was his own reflection. A strong current of water soon carried him away. All the animals happily thanked the clever rabbit. From that day on, they lived in peace and never saw the lion again. The Clever Bunny. Written by Ali Bank. One hot summer day, a hungry bunny found a sweet potato patch. As it began to dig, a farmer grabbed it by the ears. He yelled, "Great! A bunny for my dinner!" Then the farmer went to a stream to wash his face. The bunny pretended to be dead. The farmer said, "The bunny looks too weak to run away." So he put the bunny on the bank. Right away, the bunny got up and ran away. The bunny ran to a river. It wanted to cross the river, but there was no bridge. Then the bunny saw a crocodile swimming in the river. It yelled, "Hello, Mr. Crocodile! Please, help me cross the river!" The crocodile wanted to eat the bunny. So it replied, "Sure, I will take you to the other side." When reaching the other side, the crocodile grabbed the bunny by the legs. The bunny was scared. Then the bunny said, "Do you want to hear a joke before you eat me?" The crocodile agreed. The bunny's joke made the crocodile laugh so hard that it opened its mouth. At once, the bunny jumped up on the riverbank and ran away. Once again, the bunny's cleverness saved its life.
The Wild Boar and the Fox. Once there lived a fox that loved to give other animals a hard time.
I'm not sure who is next on my list, but a wild boar is just as good as any other animal in this wild forest,
He thought. He went in search of the wild boar named Panta. He laughed, thinking of what he had done to vex the elephant a little earlier that day. When the fox saw the wild boar, the boar was sharpening his tusks against the bark of a tall tree. It seemed that the boar was ready for a fight. The fox walked around the tree in wonder, but he couldn't see any enemies of the wild boar anywhere around.
What a complete waste of time!
He told Panta.
You're not in danger. Yet you sharpen your tusks.
Panta looked at the lazy gray fox and asked, "Do you only get things ready when a situation arises?"
What do you mean?
The fox asked. "If I wait until an enemy attacks me to sharpen my tusks, it's too late. I have to prepare for the things that could happen ahead of time. Tigers in this area love wild boar, and so do wolves. I'm not waiting until their shadow reaches me and their breath is upon my back to get ready," Panta replied. Panta kept sharpening his tusks. Meanwhile, the sneaky fox tried to figure out what he needed to do to prepare for danger. The fox said,
All this time I've been making mischief with other animals, when I could have been making sure I was well prepared for my enemy.
He got embarrassed for his shallowness. The fox ran out from Panta's place and had learned a lesson from the careful wild boar. After all, he understood that preparedness for war is the best guarantee of peace.
The Tiger and the Stag's House. Deep in the forest lived a handsome stag with great branching horns. One day he said to himself,
I am tired of living like a nomad, always here and there. I want to stay put in one place. I shall build my own house.
So he searched every hill, every valley, and every stream for a suitable place. At last he found one that was just right. It was not too high, not too low, not too far from a stream, and not under the hot sun.
I am going to build my house here,
said the stag. He began to clear the place right away and did not stop until night. Now, in that same forest lived a large, handsome tiger with sharp teeth and bright eyes. One day, the tiger said to himself,
I'm tired of having no home of my own. I really should build myself a house.
So the tiger also looked for a place to build his house. He searched every corner of the forest and finally found the perfect spot. It was not too high, not too low, not too far from a stream, and not under the hot sun. The tiger said to himself,
I am going to build my house here. The place is all ready for me.
He cleared the area all night and did not leave until the sun rose the next morning. That morning, the stag came to his place to continue his work.
Somebody is helping me,
he said to himself, looking at his new place.
This place is now completely cleared and ready for me to build the foundation.
The stag began to work right away and continued all day. He only left at night when the foundation was laid. That night, the tiger came to work on his new house.
Somebody is helping me,
he said to himself, looking at his new place.
The foundation of my house has already been laid.
He began to work at once and built the sides of the house. He worked all night and left at daybreak, leaving the house with the sides completed. At daybreak, the stag came back to work on his house and could not believe his eyes. The sides of the house were finished with a big door and a funny little window.
Somebody must definitely be helping me,
he thought as he began to construct the roof. He worked hard all day, and when the sun went down, the roof of dried grass was finished.
I can sleep in my own house tonight,
he said with satisfaction. He made his bed in the corner and was soon sound asleep. That night, the tiger returned to the house, planning to continue his work. He could not believe his eyes. His house now had a roof of dried grass. The tiger rubbed his eyes, for he thought he was dreaming.
There must be somebody helping me,
the tiger said to himself. When he entered the house, the first thing he saw was a stag sleeping in the bed.
Who are you, and what are you doing in my house?
The tiger asked angrily. Annoyed at being woken up, the stag angrily shouted back.
This is my house. Who are you?
It is not your house. It is mine. I built it myself,
said the tiger.
No, this house is mine,
said the stag.
I built it myself.
I made the clearing for the house,
said the tiger.
I built the sides and made the door and window.
I started the clearing,
said the stag.
I laid the foundation and built the roof of dried grass.
Both the tiger and the stag were certain they owned the house. The two animals grew angrier and angrier until they were not only arguing, but physically fighting each other. The fight was so fierce that the house was soon torn down. How foolish they were! Now they both had no place to live in. If only the tiger and the stag had calmed down, their whole effort would not have been ruined, and they would have not hurt themselves.
The Monkey and the Crocodile. Deep in the forest lived a very clever monkey named Hugo. If there was ever a problem all the animals would say,
Just ask Hugo.
One day, there was a heavy rain.
Hey, Hugo!
A monkey said.
The rain is causing the river to overflow! We can't get to the other side to get some fresh bananas!
Hugo came up with an answer right away.
We can use branches to build a dam and stop the rushing water. Then climb across them to get to the other bank.
Hugo was so good at solving problems that the other animals nicknamed him You Go Hugo. One day, while Hugo was talking with his friends, he spotted from the corner of his eye a crocodile whose name was Rico. Rico was clumsily trying to hide behind a tree, but the tree was not big enough.
Silly crocodile! I'll watch you while you watch us.
Hugo thought. Rico came from a river not far from where Hugo lived. He heard two frogs talking about what a clever monkey Hugo was. They said Hugo had all the answers. Rico wanted all the answers. He thought if he had Hugo's heart, he could have his answers too. So he sat there, thinking really hard about how to get Hugo's heart. Suddenly, Rico saw something shiny. It was a stone. He had a plan.
Hey, Hugo!
Rico called up to Hugo, who was sitting on a tree branch.
Yes?
Hugo said.
Come down here, little monkey. I hear you're smart.
Is that why you've been watching us?
Hugo asked as he swung between the trees.
No,
Rico lied.
I think I found something you might want.
He held up the shiny stone.
What would I want with that?
Hugo asked as he sat on a branch.
You're smart. You can make something with it.
And what do you want?
I'd like to shake the hand of such a clever monkey.
Hugo knew Rico was lying, and that what he really wanted was inside of him. But he had a plan.
What if I want something that can make me strong?
Rico thought for a few seconds and replied,
I have strong teeth. Hop into my mouth and take one of mine.
Rico held the shiny stone in his mouth as Hugo climbed down. Hugo got close to Rico's mouth and held his hand out, then quickly pulled it away. Rico was in such a hurry to have Hugo's heart that he clamped his mouth tight and broke his tooth on the stone.
Ah! Silly crocodile!
Hugo jumped back to the tree.
Your tooth won't make me strong, just like my heart won't make you smart.
Hugo swung away, leaving silly Rico rubbing his cheek in pain and embarrassment.
The Monkey and the Two Cats. Two cats were walking together in search of food. Suddenly, they saw a big cheese and went running as fast as they could to pick it.
Give me the cheese. I'm the one to see it first,
one cat said.
No, I am. It should be mine,
the other cat said. They were fighting and fighting, but could not find a way to divide the cheese into 2 equal parts. Just then, a cunning monkey passed by and saw the 2 cats fight over the cheese. He came up with an idea. The monkey came to the cats and said, "Calm down, my 2 little buddies. It's just a piece of cheese. Let me help you." The 2 cats agreed and handed over the cheese to the monkey. The monkey split the cheese into 2 pieces. "Let me see," said the monkey with a sly look. "The piece on this side looks bigger than the other." And with that, he bit off a large piece. "Why did you bite our cheese?" asked the cats. "Because," said the monkey, "I must make sure that neither of you has more than the other." As he said, the monkey bit off another piece of cheese, then another one, until he ate it all. Finally, right after the cunning monkey finished the whole cheese, he quickly ran away. When the 2 cats realized that they were tricked, they could do nothing because the monkey had been out of reach. The cats were now left hungry with nothing to eat. However, they had learnt the lesson that when you quarrel, someone else could take advantage of the situation. They promised to never fight each other for food ever again. The Travelers and the Sea. One day, a boat carrying 2 fishermen, Gumbo and Patch, hit some rocks. The boat began to fill with water. The men were close to the shore of a land they had never seen or heard of before. They tried to row to shore, but the boat sank and they had to swim to safety. They stayed together as they checked out the new land. They noticed plenty of fruit trees and were glad because this meant that they would not starve. For supper, they ate pineapples and drank water from coconuts. Afterwards, they became very sleepy, so they lay down near the shore. In the morning, they woke up, and after having some bananas for breakfast, they wandered off to explore the land. As they looked out toward the sea, thinking of how far away from home they were, they saw something that made them hopeful. A large brown object was bobbing up and down in the sea, and it was coming their way. Gumbo's eyes grew wide with anticipation. "Maybe it's a boatload of fish," he said. "I could eat fish for breakfast, lunch, and dinner." He had another thought. "When we finish eating all the fish, we can use the boat to go back home." Patch was hoping it was a boat full of treasures. His eyes had a merry twinkle as the waves pushed the object closer and closer.
"I know how to turn jewels and gems into fine necklaces, bracelets, rings, and earrings. They will be things of beauty. We'll become rich, selling the jewelry to people back home."
I'll see my wife and family soon, Gumbo said.
We're going home!
Patch yelled to the skies. Then he looked at the object riding on the waves and getting closer and closer.
Come to us, treasure chest. We are waiting for you,
Patch said. Soon the huge object washed ashore. We were both wrong, said Gumbo as he stomped his foot while Patch kicked the sand in anger. They worked together to lug the water-soaked log to shore.
Belling the cat. The mayor of Mousetown called a meeting. All the mice came, big and small, short and tall. The mayor, a fat mouse with long whiskers, climbed upon a stool. He said,
"Our enemy, the cat, has to be stopped."
"Yes, we want to live and grow old," said the town clerk.
"We need some way of knowing when the cat is coming,"
said another little mouse. A little mouse by the name of Pipsqueak spoke up.
"If we know she is coming, we will have time to run and hide."
"Just last week, she got my brother," said a girl mouse in a pink dress. She sniffed and almost cried as she thought about her brother. The mayor tapped the table to get everyone's attention.
"An early warning plan is needed. Any idea?"
he said. The mice turned to each other and chatted. They were sharing ideas and scary stories about the cat. No one came up with an idea.
Excuse me.
Emily stood up in the middle of her circle. Everyone was surprised. Emily was known as a shy little mouse.
"I have an idea,"
she said.
"At Christmas time, we always have bells on the gate outside our house. That way, we know when a guest is coming to visit. So, if we had a bell to place around the cat's neck, we would know she is coming our way."
The mayor smiled at the idea.
"We'll have time to run quickly and hide."
The mice were laughing and dancing around. Pipsqueak spoke up.
"Have we decided which brave mouse will bell the cat?"
No one answered. The idea of being near the cat frightened all, let alone belling her. They had gotten a wonderful idea, but no one was brave enough to make it happen. That's why until now, the mice are still scared of the cat.
Town mouse and country mouse. Once there were two mice. One lived in a beautiful country, and the other lived in a big town. One day, the town mouse visited the country mouse's small cottage.
Hey!
Thanks for asking me to come visit,
she told the country mouse once they were sitting on a log by the fire.
"Glad to have you come,"
the country mouse gladly said. Then the town mouse heard a noise outside.
"What is that noise?"
the town mouse asked.
"Oh, that's the sound sound of water flowing along the brook in my backyard,"
said the country mouse.
"It's music to my ears."
Soon, the two mice were seated on stools, and they began to have dinner. When the town mouse put the wheat stalk in her mouth, she couldn't believe how awful it tasted.
"Ew. What's wrong?"
The country mouse asked nervously.
Nothing. I don't usually eat this kind of food,"
The town mouse replied.
"So, what kind of food do you eat every day?"
The country mouse asked. Then the town mouse was happy to talk about her life. She spoke of the many delicious meals that she ate back home. She told about her bed of cloth filled with cotton, and even those candles that made her rooms smell like lavender, honey, and berries.
"Why don't you come to visit?"
The town mouse invited. The country mouse agreed. The next morning, the country mouse packed a suitcase and then left the cottage with the town mouse. When the two mice arrived in the town, the country mouse heard a noise that made her feel very afraid and unsafe. She asked,
"What's that sound?"
"Oh, that's just a blue jay,"
the town mouse said, laughing when she saw her friend covering both ears with both hands. When they got to Town Mouse's home, the first thing they did was hide. They ran through a hole in the wall, down a long hallway, and into a small area behind a stairway.
"What's that noise?"
The country mouse asked nervously.
"Oh, that's an airplane getting ready to land at the airport down the street,"
said the town mouse. Later, when they were eating leftover fish and fries, another noise scared the country mouse so badly that she choked.
"That's just drills and hammers. They are building some apartments next door,"
said the town mouse.
"This place just isn't right for me. I should really go back,"
cried the country mouse. The country mouse grabbed her suitcase and ran back to her cottage. Finally, she realized that there's no place better than home. The Dog and His Reflection. Gruff, a skinny dog who went around town begging for bones and scraps, received a new bone with quite a bit of meat still attached. It was a reward from the butcher, for Gruff had kept burglars from robbing the butcher's shop. He decided to go to his favorite spot in the park and eat this one in private. He was crossing a footbridge to get to this park, where there was a river and lots of shade trees.
"Oh my!"
Gruff looked down and saw a dog below him. He had a bigger bone with more meat on it than the one Gruff had in his mouth.
"I wonder what that dog did to earn such a huge bone,"
he thought. Then Gruff decided that he must have that bone. He opened his mouth and leaped into the river to get the other dog's bone. His bone landed in the water and was carried away by a strong current. Alas! He figured out that the dog he had seen in the river was his own reflection. He also knew that by going after something that he thought was better and that belonged to someone else, he had lost his own bone for good.
My mother taught me that water is like a mirror. How could I forget?
Gruff thought and went away. The Wolf and His Shadow. One day, Jaddy the Wolf was hungry enough to leave his lair to look for food. He was thinking of what a juicy meal he could have. He then thought that it was a good idea to drink some water before eating. Having made that decision, he went off. He started running, hoping to get to the puddle in record time. He then noticed that the sun was higher in the sky. He glanced to his side and saw his shadow reflecting on the side of a cave. He didn't realize that he was such a huge fellow. Wow! He stopped and held up one leg. He noticed how big it looked as a shadow reflecting on the cave wall. He stood up straight and puffed out his chest. He saw his whole figure spread on the cave wall. He thought,
Why, I need not fear a puny lion. I'm bigger and bolder than this so-called king of the jungle.
He made up his mind right then and there to either stand still or charge if a lion ever chased him again. He watched his shadow for a long time, happy that years of good eating had made him plump and great in size. Before he could realize what was happening, a shadow blotted out his shadow completely. It was a powerful lion pouncing upon his back to show his might and power and to satisfy his great hunger.
The Leopard and the God. Written by Wendy Lee. Once upon a time, a god ruled over all the animals in the forest. One summer day, while the god was sleeping, a loud noise woke him up. The god looked down into the forest to see what was going on. He saw a leopard playing a drum. He said to himself, "The sound of the drum is so loud, that must annoy every creature. I need to find a way to stop the leopard." Then the god came up with an idea. The god went to visit the leopard in the forest. "May I play your drum?" the god asked. The leopard shook his head and said, "No, no one can touch my drum." The god asked the leopard several times, but the leopard's answer was always the same. The god decided to wait until the leopard went hunting. Then the god would get the drum. But the leopard did not go hunting that day. The god went to ask the other animals if they could help him to get the drum. The python agreed to help the god. He went to talk to the leopard and said, "Leopard, your drum is beautiful. Can I borrow it to play at my family reunion?" The leopard refused. "Didn't it happen last week?" he asked. chasing the python off with a loud roar. Next, the elephant offered to help. He was confident that the leopard would listen to him. The elephant went to the leopard's home. He asked the leopard if he could borrow the drum for a party. The leopard did not believe the elephant. He said, "I will bring the drum to your party tomorrow, but not now." Then he growled and chased the elephant away. This time, a tortoise offered to try and get the drum for the god. All the other animals laughed at the tortoise, but the tortoise did not care and went to find the leopard. When the tortoise found the leopard, she said, "I think your drum is too small to join our music festival tomorrow night." The leopard replied with confidence, "No way! My drum is the biggest one in the forest." The tortoise smiled and said, "It is because you have not seen the god's drum. It is much bigger than yours. Even a leopard can sit in it." Angrily, the leopard decided to prove that his drum was bigger than the god's. He went to sit inside his own drum. The tortoise had already prepared a big lid in advance. She trapped the leopard inside his drum. Then the tortoise rolled the drum to the god. The god and all the animals were overjoyed when they saw the tortoise come back with the drum. The tortoise took the lid off the drum and the leopard jumped out. He was very dizzy. The leopard felt that the drum was more trouble than it was worth. He decided to go away. After the leopard was gone, the god saw that the tortoise had been hurt while rolling the drum to him. The god felt very sorry for the tortoise. To thank the tortoise, the god gave her a hard shell. The shell would protect the tortoise and would give her a safe place to live. The god took the drum home. He decided to use the drum for warning animals when a storm was on the way. Then the animals would have time to find shelter before the rain and wind arrived.
The Legend of Watermelon. Written by Ethan Smith. Once upon a time, King Hung adopted a son named My NTM. He was very smart, and the king really loved him. One day, during a royal banquet, the king ordered a servant to give My NTM delicious food. However, My NTM refused it and told the servant, "What is given is actually a debt." The next morning, the king asked about what My NTM said at the banquet. My NTM said, "Your Majesty, the only things that really matter are those we can do on our own." King Hung was very angry. Although he loved his son, he decided to send My NTM to a deserted island. As soon as My NTM's wife heard about the punishment, she started to cry. "Don't worry, we can live on our own. Someday we will be able to return to the mainland," My NTM said. The couple packed clothes and food for their journey. When they reached the island, My NTM turned a cave into their house. He felt sorry for his wife, but he believed that they could find a way to live happily there. The next day, while My NTM and his wife were fishing along the shore, they saw a flock of birds eating a strange fruit. My NTM walked closer. He saw the birds had left behind black seeds and took them home to plant. The couple happily watched the seeds sprout. They took care of the plants every day. Their garden gave them hope for the future. One day, they saw a flock of birds come and eat the green, unripe fruit from their garden. They did not chase them away. After the birds flew away, the couple picked up all the seeds that were left. My Antiem believed the birds had eaten the best fruit. A few months later, the fruit was ripe. My Antiem cut a fruit and found it very juicy and sweet. He decided to name it watermelon, or dua hao in Vietnamese. One day, he decided to carve his name into a fruit rind and throw it into the sea. He hoped someone would catch the fruit. Year after year, my Antiem carved his name on the fruit rind and threw it into the sea. His wife told him to stop, but he kept doing it. He didn't want to live on the island forever. One day, a fishing boat came near the island. When they pulled up their net, they found a fruit with my Antiem carved on it. The fishermen came to the shore and found my Antiem growing this wonderful fruit. After that, my Antiem traded the fruit for rice and salt from the fishermen. When they arrived on the mainland, the fishermen took the fruit to the village market. All the villagers loved the fruit. Word spread about the new tasty fruit from the island. King Hung also tasted the fruit and found it delicious. He wondered who had planted it. King Hung was shocked to hear that his son was still alive and grew the fruit. He was ashamed that he had sent my Antiem to the island. The next day, the king decided to bring the couple back to the mainland. My Antiem picked all the ripe fruit to bring back with him. He also brought seeds to the mainland. He wanted to share the fruit with everyone and teach them how to grow it. Since then, watermelon has been the symbol of luck in Vietnam. People often choose it as one of 5 fruits to place on the ancestor altar on Tet holiday.
Are You My Mom? Written by Sally Dixon. Mike the Mouse found an egg in a nest by a fruit tree. But where was the egg's mom? Peck, peck. Mike watched as the egg jumped and jumped and jumped. Peck, peck. Mike watched as a beak poked from the eggshell. Peep, peep. Mike watched as a yellow chick jumped from the eggshell.
Are you my mom?
The chick said to Mike.
No, I am not your mom. I am a mouse,
said Mike. The chick said,
You are not right. I think you are my mom, and I think I am a mouse.
The yellow chick kissed Mike on the cheek. Mike ran from the nest by the tree, and the chick chased Mike back to a house.
Do we live here, Mom?
The chick said to Mike. Mike sighed and said,
I am not your mom, but we will look for your mom.
The chick said,
But you are my mom.
Mike walked back to the nest by the bush, and the chick chased him. Huff the Puffin stood by a rock.
Are you this chick's mom?
Said Mike.
No, I am not,
said Huff. Huck the Duck sat by a log.
Are you this chick's mom?
Said Mike.
No, I am not,
said Huck.
Look,
said Mike.
Here comes Hen the hen.
Han ran to the nest by the bush and said with a sad voice,
Where is my egg?
I think Hen might be your mom.
Mike said to the chick.
You look like her.
The chick looked at Mike, and then he looked at Han. The hen had a beak and wings like he did.
I am not a mouse,
yelled the chick. As Han kissed his beak, the chick said,
You are my mom, and I am glad.
Han and the chick hugged Mike, and Han said,
Thank you.
The Shepherd Boy and the Wolf. In a peaceful village, there was a young shepherd boy who took care of his sheep very well. The lady in the wool shop patted the boy's head when she saw him.
Precious child, make sure to watch carefully over the sheep.
He smiled and promised to be a good shepherd. When he went to buy winter clothes, the shopkeeper said, "Precious child, make sure to watch carefully over the sheep so we can get beautiful things of wool."
I will. I promise.
He said. One day, when he was watching over the sheep, he imagined what would happen if he sounded the alarm. So he tried to test the bell by hitting it softly. But the sound was so loud, it echoed through the hills and valleys. He watched in horror as the villagers came running to help, with his father leading the pack. "I don't see a wolf anywhere," his father said in a booming voice.
Everybody, it's just a false alarm.
The naughty boy said.
My cake will burn.
One woman said angrily. "I have a crop to bring in. I don't have time for your silly games," said one farmer. His father scolded him privately, and then the people returned to their work. A long time afterward, when people had forgotten, he was guessing who would be the first on the scene when he rang the bell this time.
I hope it would be my father.
He burned to know for certain, so he rang the bell. Sure enough, there came his father over the crest of the hill, swinging his pitchfork. All the villagers followed behind, even his teacher, who was holding the broom she used to sweep. Soon they realized it was another false alarm. Exactly a week later, when he was lying under the tree while his sheep were grazing, he saw some sheep running here and there. After looking closely, he saw a wolf approaching the flock. The boy suddenly ran to the edge of the hill and started screaming for help.
Help! Help! There is a wolf for real!
He tried to ring the bell as much as he could.
Please, help!
But this time, the villagers didn't pay any heed to the screaming boy. The boy kept screaming for help, but no one turned up this time. All he could do was stand there and watch his sheep getting killed by the wolf.
Oh, I shouldn't have played that prank with the villagers. Nobody believed me when the wolf actually turned up. What should I do now? I lost all my sheep.
The boy cried.
The Snail Family. Written by Donna Kim.
A mother snail and her 3 baby snails lived in a garden. One evening, the mother snail said, "Let's go out and explore the garden." Then the mother snail slid across the ground, and the baby snails followed her. When they saw some vines, the mother snail said to her babies, "Let's climb up these vines." The baby snails excitedly went after their mother up the vines. Next, the snail family traveled past a patch of flowers. By then, the baby snails were hungry. They said,
"Mom, we want to eat something."
The mother snail gently said, "Wait for me, babies." Then she climbed up a nearby plant with pink flowers. She pushed the flowers down so the baby snails could eat them. After the babies were full, the snail family started back home. The mother snail used her tentacles to find the way home through the darkness. Suddenly, a bird flew down and pecked one baby snail on his shell. The baby snail cried out,
"Ouch! Something hit me, Mom!"
The snails were all afraid. The mother snail yelled, "Hide under these leaves! That bird is trying to eat you!" Hiding under the leaves, the snail family waited until the bird flew away. Then they continued their journey back to their house, which was under a rock. As the baby snails were going to sleep, the mother snail thought about their next adventure. The next evening, the mother snail woke her babies up and said, "Let's go to the nearby vegetable garden and enjoy tender greens there." Soon, they reached the garden where tender greens grew. The baby snails were so excited about eating the tender greens. But when the baby snails started to eat the vegetables, they cried out in pain.
"Mom, my eyes hurt! I cannot see anything!"
As the mother saw the white powder on the ground, she screamed, "It's lime powder! The gardener is trying to chase us away! Let's get out of here!" As they left the vegetable garden, the mother snail said, "Let's go home. We should not eat the vegetables that the gardeners work hard to plant." From that day on, the snail family did not go back to the vegetable garden to eat the tender greens.